Hi guys! I have a really exciting video for you today. This is the Take a Note planner from the National Taiwan University Press. This is a planner that I've been interested in for a couple of years now, but it's been very hard for me to find a stockist. So I was delighted to discover that London Gifties sells them, and I ordered one, and she said that she's going to be getting more in stock, so if you're interested I will leave that link down below, and there's also another US-based stockist, I believe. So this is a really cool A5 vertical weekly planner with some very interesting layout features that I have never seen in any other planners. So it comes in this box. When you open it, you see the beautiful planner and also a clear PVC cover, which I will show you a bit later. So the planner comes in two sizes, A5 and A6. And it comes in two different versions, a Chinese language version and an international English language version. This is the international version, and as far as I know, this only comes in A5 size, which is what I have. So this is a completely standard A5 size. I'll just show it to you in comparison with a hardback A5 Leuchtturm. You can see it's pretty much the same dimensions. This planner is soft cover, and it has a cardstock cover, which I would say is either the same or a little bit thinner than the Hobonichi A5 and original covers, but a very different feel because this is quite matte, whereas the Hobonichi covers are pretty smooth and glossy. You can see that it comes in this very rich navy blue. I think that every year they change the color of the cover, and it has gold foil on the front, so it says 2021 regular. And then it has the Take a Note logo at the top here. On the side, it has these vertical monthly tabs printed in so that you can see what month you're on, like the Hobonichi. As you can see, there are two colors here. There's a gray and a kind of reddish orange, which is the color scheme for the entire planner. I'll show you in a minute. The spine is this really interesting stitched signature type binding, and it's uncovered so you can see all of the signatures and how they're stitched together, and I think that this looks really nice with the clear cover on it. This is the back, completely plain. And the one thing that I'll point out about this, which is a bit different than most other planners, is that it has pointed corners, as opposed to, like, say, the Hobonichi and Leuchtturm, which have rounded corners. And I have to say that this is the one negative that I have for this planner. I absolutely love this planner in general, but I just wish that it had rounded corners. But if you're not as picky as me about your corner rounding, then it won't bother you. So this paper is Tomoe River, and it's 68 GSM, unlike the Hobonichi, which is 52 GSM, so it's a bit thicker, and it also feels a little bit rougher to me, but it takes pen in just the same way. So I did a pen test here with all kinds of different fountain pens. This was where some water splashed on it, so accidentally, but it kind of allows you to see what happens if there's a bit of water. And if you look on the other side, you can see that there is absolutely no bleed through, although there is quite a bit of ghosting, just like with the Hobonichi. So if you're not a fan of thin paper that ghosts or shadows, then this is not for you, but it does hold up really well to fountain pens. These are all different sizes, mostly mediums with different kinds of ink. So when you open it up, you have this very nice, rich, dark blue end paper, which is a little bit of a thinner cardstock. You can hear in comparison to the cover. And then it goes straight into the planner. So something that I really like about this planner is it's extremely minimalist aesthetic. It doesn't include anything that you don't need, and it includes basically everything that you do need, I feel. So you can see that you've got this same frontispiece as what you have on the cover in grayscale and reddish orange. And then you go straight into your first spread, which consists of a yearly calendar. So there's something interesting about this in comparison to, say, the Hobonichi yearly calendars, which is that this is all on one page, and it gives you the last 4 months of the previous year and the first 4 months of the following year, and then the whole of the current year, 2021. So I think that this has pros and cons to it. Pros is that it allows you to fit all 3 years on one page, in contrast to the Hobonichi. If I compare this to the cousin, which I'll be doing a lot in this video because it's the same size. Obviously, this planner also has similarities with the Jibun Techo and some of the Nolte planners, but because the Jibun Techo is A5 Slim, I think that this is more directly comparable to the cousin. So you can see here that the cousin has this 2-page spread with the full year, current year, which in this case is 2020, and then the whole of the previous year and the following year. And I think that that can sometimes be useful because occasionally I have wanted to check something that is happening much later in the following year, and even more rarely than that, I want to check something that happened in the previous year. But I think in general, this is a pretty good compromise because usually I feel like you don't need to check things like way back in the past, and likewise, for the most part, the next 4 months of the following year are probably going to be enough. And then it allows it all to be very compact. So it's a Monday start, and everything is in gray except for Saturdays and Sundays, which are in red, and Sundays are additionally in bold. As you can see, because this is the English language edition, it labels the months in English. And then on the opposite side of the page, you have a Gantt chart. And I think that this is a really nice feature that not many planners have. The Leuchtturm planners have something similar, but I haven't really seen it in many others. So you've got each month labeled in alternating colors, red and black or gray, and then you have each month laid out vertically from the first day to the last day, and then it lists the first initial of the day of the week, with Saturday and Sunday again in red and Sunday additionally in bold. And you've got these faint lines here. They're dotted lines, which might not be showing up well on the camera, but basically you could write a heading here. So say you wanted to track vitamins and sleep. You could write vitamins and sleep here, and then you could tick every time you took your vitamins and write the number of hours of sleep that you got every day. Or you could use this for project planning. It really is very flexible and has a lot of different uses. You can't fit a lot in these boxes, but you would be able to use them for either like ticking yes or no, or for writing a number in, or if you had a code with a letter. So I think it's quite nice that they have made this so compact that you can have these 2 different spreads on facing pages. Then we go straight into the monthly spreads. So it starts with December of the previous year, and as you can see, you get a lot of space around the sides. So on the top you have quite a few lines, on the side, on the bottom, and on the right. And something that's different from the Hobonichi paper is that this is 3.5mm grids, whereas the Hobonichi paper is 3.7mm grids, so it's a little bit different. But other than that, it looks very similar to the Hobonichi in that they both use the same kind of dotted line grids. So you can see here how it looks in comparison. And you can straight away see that the boxes in the cousin are a lot bigger than these boxes, and that's because there's so much extra room around the side. So you can see that in the cousin, most of the real estate is taken up by the monthly boxes, whereas here you have all of this extra space. So it really just depends on what's more important to you. You can still fit quite a bit in here, because I think that the small grid sizes help you to write small, and that's something I like about this type of planner. So again, you have a Monday start. Saturday and Sunday are in red, with the numbers also in red. And something really cool about this layout is that on the left, you have all of this space. And if you can see here, each week is divided by a solid line. So all of these are dotted grid lines, whereas here, 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 after every week, it's solid line, which means that you can very easily divide your weeks from each other without having to draw in lines yourself. And you could make this, say, a space to put your top to-dos for the week, or your appointments for the week, or shopping list for a week, whatever you want, so that you can divide each week from the others at a glance. And I think that that's a really nice feature. You have the same kind of thing on the right-hand side, where the solid lines keep running from the monthly onto this space, so you've got an extra box that's not dated, but you can use it for something that you divide by the week as well. But these are subtle enough that if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. It's very easy to ignore the solid lines. And then at the bottom, you've just got some more grid space and at the top as well. So there are a couple of really cool features about this planner that you can see here. One is that each page is numbered. So you see this says 004 and this says 005. So every single page of this planner is numbered going up to 255 at the very end. And it starts on page 1, although it doesn't label these first few pages, which is why it starts with 4. And the reason that they do this, I think, is ingenious. So you see here at the bottom it says page 36, and that's because they've given you the page number of the corresponding week. So if you want to go to the week that matches this spread, you know exactly where to go. You go to page 36 and there it is. So these are blank, and that's because there are no corresponding weekly spreads for the month of December, and this is the first week where the planner actually starts. But then if you go to January, you can see that every week is labeled with a corresponding page. So I think that that's really, really cool. You also have very clear labeling for the months. So each month is labeled in red, and then it gives you the name of the month in English and the year. Another really nice feature about this planner is that because it has so much space around the sides, that means that if you have a month that starts on a Saturday or a Sunday and has 31 days, you still get a complete full-size box for day 31. In contrast to, say, the Hobonichi, which I absolutely love, and I'm not dissing at all, because I would never say anything bad about my beloved cousin, but you can see here, this is the same month, and you get a half box for this 31st day because of the layout. So here you get full box, and I know that a lot of people in the planner community really appreciate that. It just means that you lose a little bit of blank space at the bottom, but because you've got so much blank space on the rest of the page, that's okay. So your monthlies continue straight on. They're all at the beginning of the book, and I think that this way of cross-referencing the weeklies and the monthlies is a nice compromise to sort of compensate for the fact that the weeklies and the monthlies aren't together. So I actually like this style, probably because I'm used to it from Hobonichi. I like having all the months together because I use them for a different purpose than I use my weeklies, but I know that there are a lot of people in the planner community who prefer the Happy Planner EC style where the months are interspersed with the weeks, and I think that this is a good solution in case you kind of like that layout a bit more, so that you can easily flip back and forth between them. So you can see that this is threaded binding, and it lies perfectly flat. This is another thing that it has in common with the Hobonichi, is that it lies totally flat without any problems. So we keep going like this through the months, and you've got all of the months of the year going up until March of the following year. Okay, so this is the last monthly spread, so it lets you do a little bit of forward planning. And something else that you will see about this planner is that it doesn't mark any holidays, and that's because this is the international version, so they've left it completely blank, which I think is really nice, because that means that you can just put in the holidays that are relevant to you, where you live, and for the festivals that you celebrate. So I think that's nice because it keeps the layout very, very clean and minimalist, and that's something that you'll see throughout this planner. It has a really clean, sleek layout, which I very much like. So in terms of the paper is white, and it's pretty similar to Hobonichi paper in that respect, I would say. Okay, so we now go from the monthlies into the weeklies, and this is where this planner gets really exciting, and it starts to have some amazing features that I haven't seen anywhere else really. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is that it's a vertical weekly spread with a timeline. Looks like the Hobonichi, right? But a major difference is that instead of being a week on 2 pages like the Hobonichi, it's a week on 4 pages. What? So cool! So this really, really excited me. I think that this is so awesome and such an interesting layout, and I'll talk about all of the benefits of it in a minute. But the first thing that you can see straight away is that you have this weekly dashboard. So you've got the month or months at the top here, and it will tell you that, this week contains 2 months. So this is the outgoing month in black, and then the incoming month is in red. And then every spread after that, the month will be labeled in red. And then it also gives you the name of the month, and it also has this little pocket-sized calendar for the month with the relevant week circled. And again, like just as in the yearly spread, it's a Monday start with Saturday and Sunday in red and Sunday additionally bolded. Okay, so the really cool thing about this weekly dashboard is that it is almost as big as the weekly layout on the left-hand side of the Hobonichi weeks. So you can see that it's a little bit smaller. So it starts here and finishes here, whereas in the weeks it continues a little bit further, but you get almost the same amount of room to write as in the weeks. And it's, again, the same kind of gridded layout. So this is extremely functional. I mean, you could use this for all kinds of things. You could use it to list all of your weekly appointments so that you can see them all up front. You could list them for, you could list your top to-dos for the week. You could, you know, like, you can do whatever you want. I think the possibilities are endless for this. And I really like the fact that they don't prescribe anything. They just give it to you and you can do what you want with it. So it's a Monday start and it lists the date and the day. And then obviously you've got the weekends in red. And a really cool thing about this is that it puts this solid line down the middle of the spread, which means that you could use the left-hand side, this left half, for appointments and the right side for to-dos if you wanted to. But again, you could very easily ignore this solid line. It also gives you a solid line on this left half here. If you can see this, I'm not sure how well it's showing up, but this is a solid line. So each one of these is a solid line. Whereas on the right-hand side, it doesn't have solid lines. So I think that this would work perfectly for listing appointments and to-dos. So you could keep a running to-do list for the week here, let's say. But again, it's so subtle that if you wanted to ignore the solid lines, you very easily can. So I think that this is an ingenious layout and something that is just really exciting and opens up lots of possibilities for planner addicts everywhere. Okay, so that's the first part of your first half of your weekly spread. Then you have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you can see that the dates are written in big, bold black letters, and then you've got moon phases and the name of the day of the week in English. And I really love moon phases, so I am so happy that they included that. So every day has the moon phase, and that's all that is listed in terms of calendrical information, apart from obviously the dates and the days. Now, looking at the weekly spread, because this is a week on 4 pages instead of a week on 2 pages, and it's A5, it means that each daily spread gives you about twice the space as what you get in a Hobonichi cousin weekly column. And I think that that is really, really cool. Again, I love my cousin, not abandoning the cousin. I'm going to use this for something else. But I think that this opens a lot of possibilities because it means, first of all, that you never have to worry about running out of room in the vertical spread if you want to write something on the timeline. Now, this is something that happens to me quite a bit in my cousin, is that because the lines are quite narrow, I often have to, you know, kind of continue writing some details about the appointment on the next line because it kind of runs out of room. But here, if you've got an appointment, let's say with a lot of information or an address that you want to write down, you don't have to worry about running out of room because you've got all of this space here going across horizontally. However, just like in the weekly dashboard, it actually gives you a solid line running straight down the middle, which makes it very easy to divide each day into appointments on the left and to-dos on the right. So I think that that is another awesome feature. And again, if it doesn't apply to you or you don't want it, it's easy to ignore. Now, let's look at the hourly layout. So this is effectively a 24-hour layout. It starts at 6 a.m. and it runs until 3 a.m. and it labels every hour and then it gives you a dot per half hour. So you have a line every half hour, which is great. It also gives you an extra dot here at the bottom and then 2 extra dots here at the top. So if you wanted to write in 5 a.m., you could write it there. And then you'd have a space for 5:30. If you want to write in 4 a.m., you can write it here, and then you'd have 4 a.m., 4:30, 5, 5:30, 6. Or alternatively, if you are a night owl like myself, and you would rather that your night extends longer, you could write in the 4 here, and then you'd have 4:30. And then you could write the 5 up there. So I think that that is amazing because it's really flexible. It gives you the opportunity to kind of start your day where you want. You can either start it at 4 a.m. or at 5 a.m. and you can have it run a little bit longer if you are a night person. And I think that that is amazing. So this is one of very few planners that I've seen that has a full 24-hour layout, and I absolutely love it. So you don't have anything at the bottom. You don't have check boxes, nothing like that. And I think that this is a really nice alternative, in addition to the cousin, to the Jibun Techo, because the Jibun Techo has a similar layout, but it's obviously also a week on 2 pages, and it's A5 slim, or B6 slim, but if we're thinking of things that are kind of comparable to an A5, then it's similar to this, but this is a lot less busy than the Jibun Techo, I feel, in any of its, you know, various versions. This is very clean. It doesn't give you anything extra, but you can do with it whatever you want. So I think it has a lot of flexibility and I love it. You've got the month here, so you can easily flip from one month to the next, and the alternating months are in red, or kind of reddish orange as it is. And then this is the first half of your week, right? And then the second half of your week is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And again, each day has equal weight. So here you don't have the weekly dashboard because that is at the beginning of the week. So this is really, instead of the note column that you get in the Hobonichi, right? But it's double the size because you've got 2 pages per spread. Or, I mean, 2 pages per half a week instead of 1 page per half a week. So the one other thing that it does, which it does here as well, but it's kind of harder to see it, is that it gives you a little bit of shading in the hour between 12 and 1. You can see it a bit more on this side because it runs throughout the whole page, and here it's in red. So I think somehow that makes it a little bit easier to see. But again, it's very subtle, so it's easy to ignore if you don't need it or want it. But it does do a nice job of dividing the morning from the afternoon. So if you have your lunch hour here, then obviously that's useful. Otherwise, I think it just gives you a good visual reminder that this is morning and this is afternoon. So I think that that's a really nice touch. If you have a week that is split over 2 months, it will label the outgoing month here. So in small letters it says December, and then here it says January. And obviously Saturday and Sunday, just like the rest of the planner, is in red. I mean, just like the spreads, you know, the other spreads in the planner, Saturday and Sunday are always in red at the end of the week. And then you start over again with your next weekly spread, and it just continues in the same way. So I think that this has so many possibilities, and it's just such a great layout, a really exciting layout that I have never seen anywhere else. And I think it has a lot of possibilities for, you know, like writing your appointments and then writing your to-dos, and it's really cool. So you can see here you've got the moon phases. This is another month where it switches during the middle of the week from one month to the next, and so it will indicate that here, and then it will also indicate it here. And then it just continues like that until the end of December and the beginning of January 2022. So that's the end of the weekly spreads, and then you have about 10 pages of notes, which are just empty gridded pages. And they've also done something cool with this. So I'm not sure how easy it will be to see, but there is a solid line running across the middle of the page horizontally, and then another solid line running vertically. So it basically divides your page into 4 quadrants, which I think again is a really nice touch, because you could use this for 4 different lists, let's say, or, you know, really use it to divide the page in half if you wanted to, either vertically or horizontally. So I think that that's a really nice feature that they've added, and again, it's really easy to ignore if you don't want it. So you've got your notes pages, not a huge amount of notes pages, but enough because they're A5 pages and the grids are so small that you could do quite a lot with this. And I think that this would really appeal to someone who likes the cousin but doesn't want all the daily pages. It's a good alternative to the day free. If you want to have more space for weekly spreads and you really like the weekly spreads, then this is a perfect planner for you. So after the last of these empty pages, you just get 1 page with some very basic information, the Take a Note logo, a place for your name, and contact details. Then you just get this beautiful blue end page, and that is the back of the planner. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you put this cover on. It's a very nice, sturdy, simple PVC cover with 2 pockets in addition to the flap that you put the covers into, and it also has quite a big pen loop, which I think will fit pretty much any pen, including the Hobonichi pens. This is what it looks like with the cover on. And I think that there's just something really pleasing about that. But obviously, because this is a standard A5 size, it will also fit in any A5 cover that you desire. So it's thinner than the Hobonichi Cousin, I would say that it's probably similar to the Avec, which is the half-year version. So yeah, really nice planner, really nice cover, great alternative to the Hobonichi and the Jibun Techo and some of the Nolte planners. Really beautiful layout, Tomoe River Paper. What more could you want? So I'm thinking of using this to do a monthly functional plan with me's. So let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. I'm really excited to start using this planner in January. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!